And good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Duaneo Podcast, episode 15, number 8, week 8 of NRRRL competition in the books, or week 8 of football in sense. You know, we just had round 5. And I was just looking through my Facebook news feed on this day, and it was this day that you were in a very different place. We were at Kingston Smith Park calling our second grand final, you and me, Crossy, and Mickey made his debut for Mark-Off Media. And it was very, very different scenario. Subway sandwiches and beers and ciders and everything. And I think this time last year I was about necking down my 6th schooner after calling that Barnum Murbar game, which was a pretty smoky day to memory, wasn't it, Crossy?
Yeah, mate, really hazy day, wasn't it?
Yeah. So here we are. We've still got another 2-3 weeks of regular season then before final. So courtesy of the COVID virus. But anyways, giving Shore the night off. I guess he did some work on Sunday at the game at Lismore, so he's had the night off. So Mickey Coleman, Nathan Cross once again. Boys, how's life in that Tweed Gold Coast bubble of yours?
Yeah, it's going all right. It was a little bit rainy, yes, on the weekend at the footy down at Tweed Coast. But yeah, it's clearing up now.
Yeah, Gruzzy.
Going good, mate. Yeah, you're right. It was a bit gloomy over the weekend. Father's Day Sunday, not the day I was looking for, boys, on as far as just wanted to go to the beach and sit around sort of Palm Beach, Currumbin, and just cruise. But I was under an umbrella doing it anyway.
Yeah, and I was doing bidding for Goffy both first weekend outside of the bubble, which gave me actually, and I'll go into this in a bit in the podcast. Gave me a bit more perspective about how the goal competition's working a little bit too, because I'm doing the game on Sunday, but of course also did that other code on the Saturday at the rugby, but that was vocal just to say the very least, and I was only talking about the Reggie's game. How did I'll tell you what, though, just to get off topic about NRRRL, and then we'll cover all the games in a sec, but the game I did on Saturday at the rugby out at Ballina, that was my first time I've been to my junior club, and I mean, I go across the road to Dan Murphy's all the time. You know the red ground I'm talking about. In 25 years. 25 years. That was the first time I was a little tacker picking up the ball when I first ever picked up a ball. And here's a little bit of trivia for you. I'm not sure how well you guys know your rugby, but are you guys familiar with Chris Hickey, the ex-Waratahs coach?
Unfortunately not.
No, Chris Hickey. Well, he was a Waratahs coach, or was probably in the late 2000s, but he was my junior coach. So look him up if you haven't seen it. So he was my first ever coach, Chris Hickey. And so, so walking through that clubhouse and the other day, and I'm just seeing old pictures and stuff, and there I could see or when you go into the toilets and all the writing about all the first grade players, and I'm seeing 1994, and I actually remember going there, and I remember that same graffiti in the toilets. So it just goes to show not much has changed.
Is there any welcome back Dwayne signs?
No, well, I don't think I was well recognised at the age of 8 playing playing under 8s, but
better recognise your voice.
That's right. The golden tonsils.
No, I had blonde hair and I was probably about up to my knees. But it goes to show, though, you go from playing in Ballina and playing union in Ballina for 4 years and doing a whole 360 playing for the Devils in rugby league. So as I said, I was playing juniors when you won the A-grade grand final cross in 96, 97. So,
mate, I was only 16 myself, 16, 17. So there you go.
Right. So okay, so that's a history lesson out of the way. So, but. Nevertheless, let's cover what was round 5, and so we'll kick it off with Moolumbar, and let me just bring up the score. 44-8 Moolumbar, and we mentioned that about a week ago. Moolumbar finally finding their straps. Now they got Jack Bishop back, I noticed as well, and as we'll talk about with Jaylan Degroot later on, he's our guest tonight, and he'll probably go into how Cudgen are suffering from injuries, and that was indeed the case once again. 44-8 after getting revenge when Cudgen won that game earlier in the season. And amongst the try scorers, Thomas Vickery scoring a hat-trick, Jack Bishop coming back in a big way, Bailey Cox scored one, Robert Shepherd scoring a double, and Adam Walker scoring a double. Joel Herring, Corey Kirkham scoring for Cudgen. Mickey, you were there that Saturday night. Well, and you were probably no doubt having a few skewies at the league
Yeah,
club.
well, it's funny that you mentioned about going back to the junior grounds. I don't think I've been to Wollongbar Juniors in 17 years since I started playing there as a junior. I had no idea that the clubhouse now had all the restaurant up top. The NRL was on TV. There was even bloody 8 pokies that took 20 of my dollars as well. So I was pretty impressed. Hey, like it was a cool vibe. It was cool to get night footy again. And they had Friday night. They had the ladies' league tag, and Saturday night they had the men's game. So it was a good atmosphere. So it was good to be back there.
Do you know any because obviously we may mention your Misso plays for the ladies team. Is there a reason why they played Friday and the rest on Saturday?
I just think they couldn't squeeze it all into one day.
Okay.
And on the Friday night they played the junior league tag as well at 6. Then there was like an under 18s or a 16s game of men's, and then it was the other one. So,
Okay,
but
so
it
wasn't
still
just
worked,
one.
so
It wasn't just one game and just.
No, there was 3 games still. So
Yeah.
but yeah, on the Saturday night, the A grade game, it was a little lopsided. It was you mentioned the Cudgen injuries, and just some noticeable ones that haven't been there for a few weeks, like Jake Sands, who's got a crook tailbone, I think he was saying.
Yeah.
Bo Ryan hasn't played for a while. Sammy Grant didn't play. Ben O'Gorman didn't play.
Yeah.
O'Gorman's
no surprise. He had a nasty neck. Or was it someone else? Yeah.
Yeah. So just Sam Grant didn't play. So it's not to use it as an excuse, but you knew they were going to be in for a tough night. And it was the first quarter. It was 8-4. I mean, Murbar scored some quick tries, and Cudgen answered back with Joel Hare. But then, the middle section of the game took its toll on Cudgen, and just the limited quality of players. And Wollongbar played really well, but I still think they were probably disappointed in their performance. There was still a few drop balls. There was a lot of penalties. It was a very fiery game. There was a lot of stoppages for penalties, and the refs calling this bloke out and that bloke out. But it could have been a lot worse. And I think it's a bad scoreline, 44-8. But Cudgen managing to get 2 tries, and it's good to see Joel Hare get one. But the other centre for Wollongbar, Vickery, is it?
Yeah,
Yep.
Thomas
Said he
Vickery.
got a hat trick. Yeah, man.
Yep.
He's one of my new favourite players in the whole league, actually, because I haven't seen much of him, but he's just so quick and he's just deceptive. And I think every game I've seen him, he's scored they've scored a long range try. So it's just wherever he gets the ball, he's definitely a threat. The Mooloolaba forwards played real well as too, laying the platforms down. That big Remy, I think his name is, it's his first game back in a couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And he just brings so much attention. I think players give him unnecessary attention, like where they want to get 3 and 4 in, to him.
Yeah.
And he gets a quick play of the ball, and then the backs are just doing their magic as well. But who was that other player you said returned from Wollongbar, Duaneo?
Jack Bishop, the winger.
Yeah, Jack Bishop.
Yeah, right. Is he a tall guy, real tall guy?
Yeah. Oh, he's kind of tall.
Yeah, right.
Hey, Mickey, he's actually one of Nev's favourite players, mate. So just
is he?
Well,
make sure you give him a rap.
Yeah, if you look back at all the old games on YouTube, you'll he basically let's put it this way.
I think they call him the freak.
Let's put it this way. He's responsible for why I drank 6 schooners or so at the Sunny D after a game, especially after grand final. He scored a freakish try in the grand final last year. So so I think he owes me a couple of beers for raising the dulcet tones ever so loudly.
I'm sure he's watching. He'll do
Yeah,
it.
Let's get
one
it. Well, Mickey, you've been my scout for guests. So we might have to line him up before finals or something.
Yeah, get a. Yeah, we'll make something happen because I think they're the informed team at the moment, especially in the Northern competition. And honestly, it's pains me to say that they're still waiting for Bailey Crompton to come back. So I don't know who you drop. I'm not sure if Vickery's brother might have played. I don't know if you have the team list there.
Yeah. I'm just having a gazer at it now. I did say Jake Vickery. He was playing second row.
Yeah, so I thought he played good too because I remember him playing reserve grade against Belamble 2 weeks ago and scoring a hat trick. And I'm like, mate, this guy could be easily playing A grade. And who do they drop with when Bailey comes back? So it's going to be interesting.
Especially when they got like young Bailey Cox playing out of his skin, like the young
exactly.
17, 18-year-old, you know. And Butterini, the other kid, I mean, he's playing for PBC tomorrow, I think, as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they're blessed there.
Yeah, and I was going to say, like, and I said it last week about the Mustangs, is like they have a slow start, and this was probably one of their slowest in history, if not in more recent times. But they always find their groove eventually, and when they find their groove, their plateau is a long one. And I said that at the end of last week's podcast, and we thought they might be finishing in the bottom of a 4-team competition, but now they're riding high top, and they're probably now even favourites. So we've say with maybe the Raiders to win this Tweed bubble competition. So, but you're saying before, Mickey, about nighttime footy, and this was actually the first game under lights in any competition this year. It's a discussion we should be having when now we're heading into daylight savings in a few weeks with finals. Because now, I was saying this to, I think, Shore on the way back from Lismore, because, I mean, we carry him on the podcast and commentary. Now I have to literally carry him when I back to Byron driving him back. But
sorry, who's Shorey again?
Oh, well, the one who doesn't do his research. That
yeah. Sure thing, Shorey.
No, sure thing, Shorey. No, and all jokes aside, all seriousness. I said to him, like, because with daylight saving coming up, and kickoff's normally about 3:00, and so that would push it to 4. So in any event, you'd have to have it at 4. And then the days are getting a little bit warmer too. Are we looking at maybe for grand final 5:00 kickoffs? Just get your a take on both of you boys for that.
Being at Moolumbar, it's because I haven't been to a night game for a while. I did find it a little difficult to see the action was going on, and you could notice some certain patches of the field were a little bit darker than the others. But for an atmosphere, you know, kind of setting, and like you said, you're at the top having a few beers, and you know you don't have to work the next day, assuming that it's going to be a Saturday night. It's I don't mind it.
Yeah, look, I'm not saying that it's got to be like completely under lights for grand final, but you got to consider too, like 3:00, it's already starting to get warm at 3:00. Before then, with daylight savings, they put what would be 3 is now 4, and you probably, you know, now that we're getting into middle of October, you might be looking at 5. But Crossy, what are your thoughts?
I guess if ever there was a year you're going to trial something like that, 2020 is that year. I'd be surprised, Nev, if they do anything like that. Just I know what it's like, and mate, you've been there. We've called them, and I've coached in them and played in them. Security is a big issue grand final day with the amount of drinking of alcohol that goes on, and then you throw a night time into that equation, and that's a recipe for disaster.
I guess,
it's tricky, mate. And also, I'm a bit with Mickey. Unless you're at a field where the lighting is really, really good, it'd be a shame to have, you know, some poor lighting in the bottom corner of the field, you know, just decide a premiership because of a lack of lighting or something. So, I'm a bit of a traditionalist in that sense.
Yeah, I guess you got to find a happy medium, and that's why I'm thinking maybe with daylight saving, maybe 4:30, like you couldn't have it. I don't think you could have it any earlier than 4 because 3:00's a normal kickoff. And you couldn't certainly have it at 3 where you're playing at 2 when the sun's beaming out because everyone will just start dropping like flies. So I think Byron played a few of their games last year because when daylight savings was still happening, they played at 4:30 for the first couple of rounds. So, but anyway, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to put the opinion piece so I know that Harrell's be watching, and so he can take it on our behalf or something. But anyway,
I'll tell you one thing which might, coincide with the nighttime games. What Crossy said about everything being a bit more fiery and stuff like that, and the behaviour of the people. It was a very physical game. That game between Moolumbar and Cudgen, like as you could expect. But my only, it's not a concern. It's just a point that I noticed. It was almost, the players were doing almost whatever they wanted.
Yeah.
On the field, there was a lot of stoppages. There was almost like 3 brawls. Had like players being dragged across the in goals when everyone was grouping together. I think it was Kobe Mills might have accidentally flipped someone after he'd passed it in a dangerous tackle. Cameron Roberts, I think, done the same thing for Cudgen. And then Joshy in goal for Cudgen went through and chipped over the top. And I'm assuming it was Toby McIntosh at fullback, just tackles him without the ball.
Yeah.
And it just seemed like there was no repercussions for any of these things. It was kind of just a heated, everyone comes in and goes. And I mean, that's fine if that's how the game's going to be played. But I've just noticed throughout the whole season, it's been a bit more kind of controlled, and there's been a bit more kind of, repercussions for these wrongdoings. And I'd hate to see it kind of change all of a sudden, because we're so close to semi-final time when it is fiery and people playing like this, and then all of a sudden semi-finals comes and it gets too heated, and we'll see people kind of getting maybe marched or suspended and things like that. So,
well, I think it's just because it's a local derby every weekend, and I even noticed that when calling the rugby. On Saturday, you had Ballina and Wallingbar in the reserve grade, and, there's no love lost there. And then Ballina and Lennox, and that was heated too. And the crowd was, the Lennox supporters had to go sit over the other side of the field away from the Ballina supporters, so they keep them physically distanced. And
it's not a bad thing if it's going to be like that, and it's controlled as such. Yeah. But if it starts to kind of flip all of a sudden, and 1 week you start playing, you play the same aggression, and you find yourself sitting in the bin for 10 minutes or something, I think it'll play. So it'll be interesting to see how it pans out over the next few weeks leading into the finals, because like you said, every game is going to be a local derby, and it's been physical. But I thought this one was kind of I was definitely glad I was watching up the top drinking beers and not playing.
Hey, just before we wrap up that game there, boys, just a quick one for Mickey. Do we know when, say, Sands is back and also Semi Grant? How far off are they?
Speaking of Jake Sands, he is giving me no indication that he's back anytime soon. I saw Sam. Well, Sam played last week, I think, or the week before against Cudgen.
Week before, yeah.
Yeah, right. So, no, I even Bo Ryan, when I was talking to Bo, they just got these niggling injuries that they just say they don't know when, and it's the season to rest. If you need another week off, you're going to make the final. So you have the other week off, and you might lose the next 2 weeks by 30 points each. But if they get their team on paper back round one of the finals, I'm not going to be looking forward to the team that plays them. And at this minute, I think it's going to be Blamble.
That's right. So moving along, so the one game which would have been handy to talk to tonight, because he was there with me, Northern United versus Mullum, 44-22. Northern doing the business. And Crossy, you saw it and you were there texting me in the game. Clarence Kelly, you wouldn't think he you were hearing rumours that he should be hanging up the boots, and you heard other rumours that he was going to be coaching Reggie's for Byron, but he could go on for another 3 or 4 years the way he's playing. He played slick. Roy Bell had a blinder of a game. Sort of what we came to expect with Northern United. They raced out to a big lead, and just the vibe I got when I was in the box the other day, Northern being up 18-0 at that point, I thought it just had that vibe that it was going to be Northern was going to put a cricket score on Mullum, and that's the vibe. But then, as we've said time and time again, Northern, when they normally don't put it away, they normally beat themselves, and they just gave Mullum a bit of a hint. But not taking anything away from Mullum, because now that I just said before, this was our first game outside the Tweed bubble as far as live stream goes. And I just want to say Mullum really tried their hearts out. They really did. Yeah. They did not give up. And I'll say this again about because I watched Casino Ballina late last night, and I can say the same about Casino, but more so Mullum at the moment, because as we said, they are probably out of all the active teams at the moment, they're the one that's been hit the hardest with this border bubble thing. And we could go into hypotheticals about the whole border bubble thing and where they should have been, this, that, and the other, and what it is at the moment. But if you have your time all over again, Mullum would definitely be one of those teams that are playing in the Northern Conference, because like they had before this, they lost 10 players on the fly. Then Wade Kelly was out with injury. I think he'd done a hammy, and then they were already down. So there was one playmaker, another playmaker gone. And then Reece Carruth had a suspected, what I believe, I think he might have said to Shorey, done his ACL.
Oh, no.
Yeah, but like it was an agony. And I think rumor has it, he said he heard it pop. So heard his knee go. So I hope Reece, hope he's doing well, and a speedy recovery to him. But they were already down to 2 players on the bench before half time. on top of all that, but they never, ever gave up. They showed heart, and they've done well to get within 6 points. And like where it happened, what happens after this, as far as 2021 goes, if there's a conference system, they'd be nestled into the Northern Conference. Like the juniors play Group 18 anyway. But Northern United, they just put on a show. You know, they like Roy Bell, Trevor Bolt was putting good kicks into the corner, just throwing off the fullbacks. But
yeah, Hippo was just coming off the back fence every time he carried. His leg speed, and he looked as strong and physical as I've seen him in 12 months or so, Theo. So, mate, he was good. But you're right, Nev. Geez, Mullum dug in, mate. 18-0, I thought, this could be anything. And then it's 18-12, and good on them. They had a real crack on the weekend.
Yeah, and it just goes to show that like how much this game does me. I've said broken record of how many times I say this on the podcast, but they all want to, because I think they know how much it means to them. Like, the option is you go out and play. We might not, win anything this year, or we might only get a win or two throughout the course of the year, but it's your development. It's what else are you going to do? It's like, and so they're having a go because they know that the other option is you sit home and then a year of your career is gone. And a lot of these players are young boys too. So this is what the vibe I got from calling these games and watching these players and watching the body language. Like, that's why it's like you would have, forgiven Mullum to thinking they just sit there and just like, okay, we'll just let them run 70 points on us or whatever. And I'll admit, I had a gut feeling that could have happened, but they really dug in. They had a go, and with a full squad out there, we would have seen a much closer contest.
Yeah, mate, absolutely. And again, you can only give them credit because they've fronted up. They didn't have a Reggie's, they're doing their best. Guys like Kearns, playing up front. He was playing reserve grade at Byron when I was there, big Kearnsy. So he's there playing A grade, and with the greatest respect, he's probably not an 80-minute A grade player, and he'd admit that, big Kearnsy, but he's out there.
Can I just say, so you're familiar with Glenn Crusher Abbott, no doubt?
Very familiar with Crusher.
Then you would have heard me say in the call that how he's just moulded a protege. with the lustrous locks that Shorey said in the call, and built like you think it was just it's in version 2 of Glenn Crusher Abbott, but I hope he's more well behaved than Glenn Crusher Abbott, the original version.
Well, it wouldn't be hard. It wouldn't be hard. Then Crusher, jeez.
Oh, geez,
the big Crush. Kearnsy just needs to bleach his hair blonde, and he'll be a dead ringer for Crush. But but just on Northern United, Nev, because we're speaking about obviously Clarence. Man, I was thinking on Sunday when you're calling that. Like, let's not forget, 2008 when I was coaching the Bay and we won that competition. Clarence Kelly was playing then. 2008, playing the centre, scoring those exact tries as what he's doing now 12 years later. Like, he's still going as quick as ever. Like, it's phenomenal. I mean, most blokes lose their legs when they sort of hit 30 or early 30s. Clark is just, mate, he's flying. How good is he to watch? Seriously. He gets the ball and you're out of your chair.
He was my man of the match. It was my man of the match on Sunday. I think I said towards the end there. But Mickey, anything you want to add to it on Northern Mullum at all, or?
It was just I was at the footy and I flicked over and the same thing caught my interest because it was 18-12 and you're like, oh, this could be an actual, like, a bit of a game. And as I'm flicking through, just in another try. But it's just work on the little things. If you're Mullumbimby, if you don't expect that you're gonna beat the Balliners and beat the the Northern Uniteds, they know what's going on. They're not gonna mope around and kick stones and stuff. They'll be working on their little individual things, winning the rucks and working on their own game. And I don't know if I mentioned this before, but one of my main concerns about having the whole year off is, our reserve grade team's pretty average as it is. And I could only imagine we come back 18 months later, we've never played a game of football. It'd just be a knock on for a knock on. Right. So get out there, have some fun, drink some beers after, and it is what it is.
And
well said, mate.
And I guess I'll just say that in any future, if there is some sort of permanent conference system, I'm just hypothetically, that you'd think Mullum would have to be tied into whatever some Northern setup is, because as I said, they're the ones that are feeling the hardest at the moment, but they're still giving it a go. and they'll be playing Casino at home, I think, on Sunday. So, but anyways, we'll move on to the next game. So, Casino and Ballina. So we've all kind of predicted how this would go. Like Ballina putting on a big score against Casino, 62-64 or something like that. Much closer this time, 30-10, and it certainly showed. I mean, it was a bit of wet weather football, so Ballina didn't really get all what they wanted to do. Whilst they did score some slick tries, Michael Duaneo actually scored one from dummy half. He ran sort of like 2 meters the other way, pivoted, and then ran back towards the sideline. And then he had 4 players on him, but he had enough go gadget reach to score. This was very much similar to the Northern Mullum game. So you would think normally when you see on the surface 30-10, it's like, oh yeah, Ballina had their own way. Casino didn't have any stake in the game, but it was Casino once it was Casino was the one having a go against Ballina, and Ballina, like, they were good in patches, and Ballina being Ballina, but Casino, they actually and it was reassuring to see that from Casino, to say, like, well, look, they're having a dig, and with that also Noah King, who didn't play last week, played in the centres this week, so
played in the centres, Nev, did he?
Yeah, he played. I could see him
okay.
at 3. So Zach Beecher doubling up after having a big game for the Trojans on Saturday as well. But with that being said,
Kel Sheether still playing for the Trojans?
Yeah, he played on Saturday, but he didn't play Sunday. He played only a couple of times this year. So a couple of these boys backing up, playing double. So for Casino though, I noticed also Joe Olive, he played at 5'8". Thomas McGrady, I think he played for Kyogle last year, one of those Kyogle boys that came over. So it'll be interesting to see what's going to happen when Casino finally gel with this team, and then Kyogle come back in next year, where they're going to go. So I'm hoping for Casino's sake they can just keep some of these boys together. But then again, that's just going to throw another sparrow in the works between this Casino and Kyogle rivalry.
Hey, Nev, with that 30-10 scoreline, what sort of half time were the Cougars? Yeah, were they close or?
It was probably not as close as it was, say, Northern Mullum, but it was like, well, let's put it this way: it was the same sort of deal. Ballina went out to 16-0, and they scored pretty quickly, and then you think, well, Casino could have just folded up the chairs then, but they really had a dig. And one of the 2 tries they scored. Like Ballina, I think it was Zach Beecher, whoever was playing fullback, ran up, and there was a one-on-one strip. They didn't score right off that, but it's what got him in good field position to score. So, Casino, they must have been some of the boys must have been listening to you last week, Crossy, because they made Ballina frustrated at times as well, and it was they just played gritty footy, and it was because it was also raining out at Casino. It was damp, to say the least, but it just made Ballina take them out of their comfort zone, and that's pretty much how if you're going to have a chance at beating Ballina, that's sort of what you do. Just take them out of their comfort zone, and that's how the Raiders won that grand final a couple of weeks ago. Oh, sorry, couple of years ago. It was about this 2 years ago to the day, I think, or thereabouts, and then just take them out of their comfort zone, just play them mentally, and then just that's sort of how you get under Ballina's skin. But then again, Ballina are the masters at that.
Yeah, well, the Cougars, they're definitely gritty and they try hard. And as I said, they're building a good culture over there under Jason Ouchen, and it's a pretty good club on the rise. They just need a little bit of leadership, Nev, which you've mentioned a few times. So I just hope this year they can just keep hanging in, finish the year off, use that as a base, as a platform for 2021.
That's right. Yeah. And so I think I could just see amongst the try scorers, I can't see who scored for Casino because it's not available. But I know Michael Duaneo, Cameron Copeland, Matthew Colliner, and Reece Richards. I think he did score the one towards the end there. So 30-10. So hopefully Casino, that gives them something to work off. So other game.
Is there a team that misses out in the Southern Comp for the finals? Top 4? Top 5?
So. I think it must be. It's
the same format. And if top 4 make it, that'll still give Mullumbimby and Casino some incentive to
put
weekend. Points on in the so that'll be cool. It'll be cool.
Yeah. Okay, so now moving along. So this was the game you were at, Mickey, 18-16. Replica scorelines to the last time these two teams played. Raiders over the Jets. Drew Lanson was one of the try scorers there for the Raiders, and Luke Jagger was one of because what I've got here, it says, I know there was 4 tries to 3, but they some of the names aren't being revealed, so apologies if I'm missing any players, but you boys both watched it, so for the next little bit, go, Miggy.
Nah, Crossy, take the floor.
I knew that. So was it the same similar finish to last time where goal towards
I
the
didn't
end?
see.
Sorry?
Yeah, well, mate, I didn't see last game, and Mickey can comment, but the Jets were sort of down by a couple of tries, with not long to go, and they scored a couple late. Is that what happened last time, Mickey?
No, it was a penalty goal in the last 5 minutes last time, but it was just the. I always be critical that if the NRRRL sides, they don't play like an NRL side. Like if Melbourne Storm are winning by 4 and they get a penalty from in front, they'll take the 2, right? Or if they're winning by 6, they'll take the 2. Just find in this competition, you're winning by 4 or 6, and you're like, nah, we'll score a try, and next thing you might knock it on. But Tweed Coast Raiders, they were winning by, I think, 6, and they took the 2 to be in front by 8, and they eventually win the game by 2 points. So it's just good coaching. Kyrie's there; he knows what's going on.
Yeah. That's a great
Maybe.
point, actually. There's a real Brent Kite mentality to that play, isn't it? Like, so experienced, the NRL, Clive Churchill medalist, they're one of the few teams that do have that NRL mindset. Mickey, you're right. Sorry, Nev.
Sorry, Mickey. Well, you're here on a Tuesday night. You should be at training telling them that. So I just want to iterate too, just on a lighter-hearted note. We said on a few weeks ago when we had Oliver Regan on the podcast, and we were taking the piss a little bit about how you were going to recruit him to Bilamble and stuff, and we might have just put an idea in his head because you gave me, we were in our little group chat that we had. You sent the team list from Bilamble, and you had Oliver Regan and Hayden Hansen, and I just thought, mate, I know you too well. You and Shorey are the two people that you're going to cry wolf. And I'm thinking, okay, so, and then it occurred to me last night that you were legit, Oliver Regan. So we must have put the idea in his head, and then you must have went and had a few beers with him. Was it?
No, actually, I didn't have much to do with it at all. Actually, I think it was the football gods, and it was they're both can't go out of the bubble or whatever. And I used to play with Tommy Rolls. But I think the option was don't play for Ballina and not play football at all, or play for one of the teams in the bubble. So, but as it would happen,
I'll ask you again. Did you do the Nathan Cross treatment with Krause? A couple of coffees there by the beach, and just say, "So you're looking well there, Mr. Regan. You're looking good. You're looking good." So
I definitely think someone at the club was doing that, but it wasn't me.
Okay, so and just assuming by the end of this season, so are you gonna have the when you have your end of season that if there is one end of season drinks or whatever, you're just going to keep him stored away somewhere out the valley somewhere, so he just happens to miss his clearance for Ballina next year?
Yeah, no, I don't know what the deal is actually, but we're very glad to have both players at the club for the remainder of the year, and they got man of the match or player's player. Ollie got 3 and Hayden got 2 respectively, and they played fantastic. And we'll just playing it week by week.
I just had a chuckle though when I saw that, because we were just, it was all satire, and then then I actually said, and I actually think I said to him when we interviewed him, saying, well, maybe because with the whole bubble thing you might think of, and then okay, I
did know
the Duaneo podcast put the idea in his head to come and make you happy, Mr. Coleman.
Well done.
I knew last week I had to keep it a secret.
Well played, Mickey. Yeah, mate, that was straight back. Well
played. I didn't believe it until they were playing, and they're still running out on the field. I'm like, don't believe it.
So in other words, it was bullshit when you told me at the time, because I think you told me last week. Okay. And welcome back to the Duaneo Podcast, episode 15. And joining me as a special guest for this weekend, well, if you go back to, March last year, 2019, first weekend of March, 2 great things happened that weekend. It stands out quite fondly. It's not because I got turned a year older a couple of days before that, but I actually met my partner, Stephanie, from that weekend on the Sunday. but on the day before that, I got to see this young lad go on in Northern Rivers Titans debut, score right under the sticks in Grafton against the North Coast Bulldogs, and he scored many a try since. And then just a few weeks ago, just lining up in his A-grade debut for the Cudgen Hornets. And I feel, let's put it this way, I'm glad I don't have the honour of having to pick rookie for the year, but I kind of wish I did, because it's going to be so many candidates there. But one of them there is Jaylan Degroot. Mate, pleasure to have you on the podcast. We've been a big fan of your gameplay for the last year and a bit. So you got the night off training. So how did that eventuate?
Yeah, no, I was speaking to, I was actually speaking to my 18's coach. I was like, am I all good to not come to training today? Because I got something planned. He's like, yeah, all good. Are you all sweet? I'm like, yeah, no, I'm sweet. I just got something on. And he's like, yeah,
Just a
sweet.
superstar.
So
He just wants to come, just jump on the chat here. So
yeah.
So speaking of which, what a past couple of years you had. So as I may mention, you did play the Northern Rivers Titans in the under-16s last year. Went into won the title up in the Andrew Johns Cup. And you've went and made your debut this year for an A grade just a few weeks ago. I've said it because I've covered both the Cudgen Hornets and your Titans games. I've always earmarked in pretty much all these games that you, as well as you and Tommy Weaver and a few others in the Hornets setup, that you were going to be earmarked for A grade. It's just a matter of time. Did you think it was going to come this year with COVID, or was this sort of always going to be in the mix?
Yeah, well, it was sort of my plan going into this year was for the 18 to win the Northern Rivers title again, win that there, and play at least one game of A grade. And with this whole COVID thing, I think it's kind of helped me, because there's a few boys that not playing and all like that. But to play one game, or I've only played two, but it's like one of the two best games I've ever played. It's awesome to be a part of. It's awesome, yeah. And
we can vouch for that, because I was on the call with Mickey for the first one and Crossy for the second one, and it was just well, I mean, I've seen, as I said, I've seen you play in the Titans game when you scored 4 tries against Newcastle in Ballina at the start of the year. So did you find that, and I've said this in the calls in a lot of those games too, that because you've got Thomas Weaver, because you've got Jack Field, and Oscar Bryant as well, and you've played some of those boys playing as far as country, going over the UK, so you had the Christmas break and you didn't really have much of a break. So do you find that spine being together time and time out, and plus being mates outside of football, do you find that that's what's helping you guys helping each other in a way, getting to where you need to go?
Yeah, well, I've played footy with Tommy and Oscar and all them boys for, I think, 7 or 8 years now. And we're on and off the field, we're like best of mates. We're real close. And I think it just helps us all play together and just gel together when we play, because like we all know what each other's doing before we do it. It's just sort of natural now. And it's just awesome to play alongside your mates, especially like a high level with A grade. The debut with Tom and Parker was just awesome. Yeah.
And that's what I've said in calls, and then in these podcasts, and I just use Ballina Seagulls, for example, for their dynasty that they've had, that where they've just they're all mates with each other outside of school, and then their dads were probably mates with each other back in school back in the 70s and 80s. But I believe Crossy said something last week or two that you're carrying a leg injury or sorts. Is that how's that all going for you?
Yeah, it's me left knee. It's a bit touch and go-y. Yeah, it's I played last Wednesday for school footy. That was my sort of get back game. And then so that was my first game back in two weeks. And then I didn't play Sunday just to get myself ready for our grand final tomorrow night, actually, against Keebra.
And
so
Crossy,
Sorry,
keep going. Sorry, Jaylan, keep going.
So if we win that tomorrow night, I'll probably won't play Sunday for Cudgen and then play the Queensland final next Wednesday. But I'm looking to come back to Cudgen footy pretty soon. I'm pretty keen on it, yeah.
Sweet as. Sorry, Crossy, I'll just run the question to you.
No, that's all right. Jaylan, been, mate, really impressed with, obviously, mate, I'll be honest, I haven't seen you play until this year, and Mate, it's been a pleasure to watch you so far, mate. So congrats on what you've done so far. Mate, I've just actually raced home. I was at Crumb and Eagles under-9s footy training with your PBC coach, Brad Davis, tonight, actually. Our boys playing the under-9s together there. So, mate, tell me about Brad and tell me about your PBC and your chances tomorrow night.
Oh, Davo's a great coach. Probably one of the best coaches to have. He just knows and reads the game. Like he's just so smart and everything. And with the team we got and the confidence we've got, because we're the only team undefeated in this comp.
Yeah.
And we've just got heaps of confidence. We trust all our boys. We got heaps of talent throughout the park. And like we beat Keeper by 2. The last time we versed them, we had like 4 or 5 players out. So I'm pretty confident we can get the job done tomorrow night. Yeah.
Yeah, he was a bit nervous tonight, Mr. Davis. So I think just a few
Playing it
pre-game
cool.
nerves, but playing it cool. So
Yeah.
mate, all the best tomorrow night. And I think
Cheers, thank you.
that's what we've been sort of talking about at an NRRRL level with the boys here is the fact that it's tricky, mate, isn't it, as far as juggling the school footy and having your people within your club and that understand that, you know, that they've got their club hats on, but by the same token, you know, you're in that school environment playing footy with your mates that you've grown up with. It's super important to you personally and to the school, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and that's the juggle. So I know that we're looking forward to seeing you back, you know, in a couple of weeks. Hopefully you get the result tomorrow night and then, mate, go on to bigger and better things next week. But just to cover off on your NRRRL side of things and your debut, mate, how did you find the speed of the game playing A grade, say in relation to under 18s and also the physicality difference? Just explain to all the listeners out there how you found that.
Yeah, definitely. I was pretty nervous. I didn't know what to expect when I first stepped out in the field, but I got the ball kicked to me pretty early in the game, and I just sort of ran. I just braced for impact, but I sort of busted through a little hole, so it kind of gave me a bit of confidence that it's not as tough as I thought it was, but it's still definitely more physical, more quicker than any football I've definitely played in my life. And it just helps then going back to say school footy or maybe playing 18s, it just helps my confidence knowing that it's not going to be as quick or as strong or as powerful as the people I play against in A grade. So it's good confidence booster at the same time as it's just good competition.
Yeah, mate, awesome. Well, I'll hand it over to Mickey, but mate, yeah, looking forward to seeing you back in a couple of weeks for the Hornets.
Sweet, cheers.
Yeah, I'm actually going to give you one more week off, Jaylan, because you played Blamble this week again. So if there's anything like last time, hey, just look after that knee and make sure you win this week, tomorrow. So,
yeah, we'll do.
Mate, he was ready to give you the week off when he was in commentary when he scored that trip in your first 5 minutes for the Hornets, by the way. He was like saying, mate, I'm going to go out there and get him replaced.
No, well, I'm in the kind of similar boat too, Crossy, in that I haven't really seen much of that whole kind of young nucleus of players play because we were more in the Gold Coast competition last year. But can you just confirm with me, Jaylan, how old you turned this year and if you know your height and how heavy you are?
So I turned 17 in January this year.
Yep.
And I'm probably, I think, I'd say 187 or 188, close to, and probably 5 kilos.
Yeah, mate, because I went through the highlights of when you're playing the Titans game, and you look about a foot taller than everyone else out there already at fullback. And if you're mid-80s already, mate, you're still growing. So it's going to be it's going to be exciting once you get that bit of a growth spurt going. But you were talking about the A graders, and I'm actually a Cudgen junior myself. I played a bit of footy down there, 2008 best defender in the juniors. So, but I was just wondering, who do you kind of mesh with at the senior players? Is there anyone down at Cudgen? You got the O'Grady's, his coach and things like that. Is there anyone that you really kind of get along really well with the senior players, maybe in like the late 20s or early 30s, or anyone that's really taken you under the wing at all?
I get along with most of the boys really well. Like they brought me in with open arms. Really, like I get along with all of them. Probably Tim James has helped me a lot. Actually, he's probably guided me the most. But even even saying that, having like Jake Sands helps me a lot. Sammy Grant, both the Zeeble brothers, like it's even Miles Donnelly, like even Josh Sleeber, like all of them, they're all just there, just helping you because they like, I don't know, it's like it just feels like family, even though you've been there for like me for only like 3 weeks now. It's just everyone's so tight. It's just awesome. Yeah.
And you played all the junior footy with Cudgen as well, did you?
So I didn't start with footy. I started soccer until I was 8. And then from there, started my footy at South Tweed. And then I was Valamble Junior for 2 years. And then now I've been at Cudgen for 8 years. Yeah. So since under 12.
Sweet.
No, under
cool.
11s. Something like that.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Bit of a journeyman already. But
Yeah.
you found your feet at Cudgen already. So, yeah. It's
100%.
a bad place to end up.
So Jaylan, I just I noticed over your left shoulder there the Union Jack headgear that I'm being noticed to seeing now. Rumor has it that you scored that over in the UK somewhere. Is that true?
Yeah. So I went over for the Battlefield Challenge for Group 18.
Okay.
We had a 2-week tour of England and France.
That's right.
And in our competition, one of our last games, their fullback had that headgear on. He had that headgear on. I just had a plain white and red one. And that was actually, I think that was one of the games where I probably had the best of my tournament. And he goes to me, "Here, mate, you want to switch headgears?" And it was just this Pommy one. I was like, "Oh, it's a pretty good thing to have. Like I can remember it, and I'm English myself, so I was like, yeah, I'll take it happily."
I was gonna say, has that been giving you good luck as of late with the amount of tries? Because I think you've scored more tries, like, and this is just the ones that I've watched you play, calling your games. You've probably scored more tries, and as of course I've mentioned, my partner, she lives up in the coast. You probably scored more tries than I've had weekends up the coast this year. So, and that's so already. So, with that being said, so with the final series coming up now, and with your knee saying it's a bit touch and go, how are you feeling towards this final series? I mean, Cudgen had a good they had a bit of a slow start between the first couple of weekends, which before they had constitute the Northern Southern Conference, and now Cudgen hit their straps. They kind of just dipped a little bit. So, where are you thinking you can pick it back up?
I just think we've had a lot of injuries for us Cudgen boys. We've had a lot of injuries, and I just think when we get our full strength side back, we got some boys coming back this week against Valamble, which is good. So slowly we get to our stronger side.
I was going to say, don't tell too much, because he's
yeah, I know.
He's listening.
Yeah,
He's listening with interest.
He's notepad out. He's taking notes. But yeah, I just think that when we get our full strength side, I think we're going to be a good contention for the final series. We're looking to make a really good run.
Of course,
and pretty confident.
Of course, because I've been watching you boys for a while, and I know that there's some good thing that you've got some good crop of young players such as yourself, and hopefully you boys will all stay together, and you'll go on for big things, and we've been waiting to see it, but because of the whole COVID thing, we're seeing it now. But as I said, we're all fans. We're all fans of what you do, Jaylan. Keep up the good work. Get it back on the paddock soon, and hopefully by finals time, us boys will be in the box, watching you do your thing.
Yeah, sweet. Cheers. Thank you. Thanks for having a chat.
No worries.
Good talk to us.
No worries. Anytime, Jaylan, we'll get you back on soon, and say hi to your old man for us.
Yeah, we'll do. All right. See you later.
Okay. So
that's tomorrow, mate.
Cheers. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so let's have a look at the table between the two conferences. So I've just looked here. So Moolumbar on 6 points. A win there now will take, a win. They're pretty much almost assured top two with 2 rounds to go. So with a good for and against of 60. So they're on 6, and a win, you'd think a win on the weekend would put them more on top. So if they were to go on to a grand final, they will host. You had the Raiders on 4 points, and the Jets and Cudgen on 2 apiece. And for the Gold Conference, the Southern Conference, Ballina on 8, Northern United on 6, Morris Brothers 4, and Mullum and Casino both on 2, which answers the question from last week where a bye does count for 2 points. Okay, so let's preview round 6. So we're at the Valley, Valamble, Cudgen. So Mickey, yeah, it's already in the book. I mean, it's not helping your I'm just looking at the amount of points on the tipping comp front here, mate. When are you going to lean over to Cudgen or is it
Not this week.
Yeah, it's not gonna. Well, it's not any other week either. So,
big day in the Valley this weekend. We got Old Boys Day. We got our sponsors, and another little special tribute to an ex Bilamble junior. So yeah, big day. I think Bilamble will win.
Okay, Crossy.
I agree with Mickey, mate. I'm gonna hope I don't jinx them, Mickey. I haven't. Normally, I back them and they. Or don't back them and they win. But just after watching that game on the weekend, it's the first time I've really watched the Jets closely this year, Nev. And, man, I was impressed. I mean, I love watching Mitch Spackman. He generates quick play the balls all the time. I'd love to be sort of having carries off the back of what he does. And just with they're just all effort, the Jets. I love watching them play. And I think with the players Cudgen have got out, good time to get the Hornets. So go the Jets.
It's the reason why you got 4 out of 4 last week, Crossy, and so did I.
Hey.
But no, I'm going to say Jets too. I just think, for everything you just said, the Crossy plus, as you said, Nat, when you've told me it's Old Boys Day, that just lifts the fuel up a bit.
Yeah.
Every day of the year.
Every day of the year. So you'd think that's going to be a couple of tries that on its own. Raiders, once again, have another home game, 3 in a row. So they've got the Moorlambar. So it's 2, I think it was 2 points that separated last time with the Raiders and Mustangs winning the second time around. And so, and it's at Cabot too. Crossy, who do you like?
Toss a coin, Nev. What do you get, heads or tails? That's sort of where I sit. I will back the Raiders. Look, seriously, mate, I don't know. I could go either way, but let's go with the Raiders. I've got no reasons why.
Miggy?
Mate, they just they're always involved in the close games. They beat Bilamble by 2 points twice. They beat Cudgen by 4, and they lost to Moorlambar by 2. So if they know how to win those close games. They like those close games. And if there's a place to put Moorlambar in those close games, it'd be Tweed Coast. But after watching Moorlambar on the weekend, I can't tip against them, so I'm going to tip Moorlambar.
And it's going to be a classic. And I think you're right. You're spot on there, Mickey. It's just watching, like when covering. Well, it was only just a couple of weeks ago. Murbar and Tweed, when we were out there at Murbar, was just like neither team did anything wrong. I think if Tweed were to win this game, they're going to have to just keep a cooler head. I know, as you said that about the Murbar Cudgen game the other night. They just get fired. All the players get fired up, and for these Tweed derbies. I just think just off the back of just from a couple of weeks ago when how Tweed, like Murbar, just got under their skin just a little bit too much in that quarter. I just think if they just don't let the little things get to them too much, then I think the Raiders will do it. However, I think Moorlambar are in that form where once they find that form, they'll put any team away and they'll do it well. Close one, but I'm going to say Moorlambar. So,
I'll tell you what, Nev, I hope the Moorlambar fullback's been practicing catching high kicks.
Yeah.
Whoever that is. Is it who's playing? Because Lyndon McGrady will be terrorising him.
Yeah, so I'm just trying to see who that
might be. McIntosh, maybe.
Yeah. Oh well, he can put him away. Like he did it pretty well when Lyndon McGrady did it the other weekend. Was it 3 weeks ago now? So, so now in
the Raiders, mate. Sorry, I was just going to say the Raiders had some pretty ordinary, simple errors on the weekend too, Mickey, against the Jets. The Jets didn't make them pay, but if they do that again this week, the Mustangs will put points on each time.
Yeah, I think so. I think Tweed Coast would be disappointed in their effort, but they got the win. So, it's that's who they are. That's what they play. That's what they're about. So,
yeah. And but anyways, that's what I believe that Tweed and I'm about to say another team in a sec. When Tweed don't get up, it's Tweed beat themselves. And so, which brings me into the next game, Northern United Morris. So, the only way Northern, I feel for me, doesn't win against Morris is that they beat themselves. And that just comes to their when they get out to 18-point leads or 20-point leads, and then they just sit down, have a cup of tea, and put the cue in the rack. There was sort of glimpses like that against Mullum, and Mullum got within to 6 points, and they did that with only 15 players available to them, and it wasn't it was probably their third, fourth pick team in all fairness, because of players lost to the bubble and whatnot. But as you said, they didn't even play Reggie's as a result. If Northern did that this weekend against Marist, then Marist might make them, know it. But for the same reason as I said 2 weeks ago, Northern have got the points, and they'll beat Marist on Sunday. Crossy, you want to?
There you go. This is a big week for brothers, in my opinion, boys. They've really got to show that all those expectations and the hype surrounding them at the start of the year, they're got to show this week what they're made of. I'm not convinced though. I think Northern United's classier players are going better than what Marist Brothers have got at the moment. So I'm going to stick with you, Nev, and tip United.
And Mickey?
Yeah, I'm the same. I think I said I'm not going to tip against Northern for the rest of the year. So I'll tip Northern. I mean, Lismore had, Marist Brothers had the week off, so they might be feeling a bit refreshed. But yeah, just the way the Northern United's boys are playing, I reckon Clarence Kelly would be a cool person to get on for a chat too. So if you're speaking to him, I reckon they'd be entertaining.
Let's make it happen.
Boys, good luck. It's hard to get 2 words out of Clack at the best times.
Do better.
Well, you might have to edit it.
Clack, if you're watching, I'm coming for you.
But with that being said, Northern United, anything less than an 80-minute performance, I feel Marist could take it from them in a close one. But I think I've seen enough of Northern though, and it's not just their back line; it's their forwards. Like, they played it up the middle so well, and then they just they get it to Roy Bell, Trevor Bolt, they get a kick away, or they flick pass under the sticks, and Marist. Well, in all honesty, I haven't watched a whole lot of Marist this year, because we only covered our first Southern bubble game, in the last 6 weeks. So it'll be interesting to see where Marist is at, and I can get a feel for them too. And then but just covering Northern a couple of times now, I just think Northern will get the points on them. They're good for 40 points. Whether Marist is too, time will tell. And now the last game, Mullum versus Casino, as we made mention, who's going to take that fourth spot in the final series in the Southern competition. I'm going to go first here because I saw both of these over the weekend. I'm going to say Casino. I think Casino because I think they both got some heart, and they both show heart at the right time, and they're probably about level pegging on that from what I saw on Sunday. I just think Mullum, they're already down on troops, and I think the reason why we haven't seen Shory last 2 weeks, because he thinks he might be at training tonight for Mullum, for all I know, because they're running out of players. He's strapping the boots on. We've been putting the petition in. We've been, he had a good talk to the coach from Mullum on Sunday, and
he's going to play.
So Shory might be playing. So but all serious, like all jokes aside, it's just Mullum's going for a rotten run. And whilst I've got the heart, and they'll be at home at Les Donnelly Field, I just think Casino are just showing. They're just starting to show the right with that game against Balnasaur. Like, they might be able to grit out a win. Close one though. I'm going to say Casino. Crossy.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think if this will be an absolute bludger of a game or an absolute cracker.
I think it
might be the latter. I think it'll be the latter. Yeah. Mate, I agree. Because Mullum at home, no matter how bad they're going, the game against Mullum at home is never easy, boys, as we know. Casino have got the big trip across from, obviously. I'm really on the fence on this one. I think I'll tip the Cougars. They might have a little bit too much class in the end.
Yeah, because Dane Petty, he was moving the players around the other day. Noah King.
King's back. Yeah.
You asked me this 2 weeks ago. I'd probably say Mullum, but I just think no Reece Carruth. Wade Kelly's still a little bit ginger. He didn't play on. Well, I don't think he played very long on Sunday. So that's their structure. And they've just injuries and border bubbles and the whole bit. Mickey.
Yeah, I read on the Facebook for Casino they had another 2 people make their debut, Thomas Shaw and Jordan Pike. So I don't know if you said before, did you say Mullum didn't play reserve grade?
No, they didn't
this
play
week.
Regis.
So I'm going to tip Casino, and maybe some of these debutant youngsters will get a kind of a decent crack in a few minutes, and it'll be a win-win scenario for Casino in that sense. So, but at the same time, yeah, I don't want Mullum to lose by too much.
No, I reckon it'll be a cracker of a game. I just think, Mullum's been the topic for the vast of this podcast tonight. It's just, I'm glad I actually got to have a weekend out of the Tweed bubble, so I can have a look at some of these teams in the Southern bubble, and like it's easier to one thing watching Huddle, but watching it live is another thing. And I just think the boys are really putting their effort in week out, and it's like, as I said, it's like let them play, let them do what they do. There's still only a few weeks left, and I'm sure they'll put it on what they feel to be a classic game out at Les Donnelly Field on Sunday. Okay, so that's all that in the books. So once again, I'm stuck with Shorey again for this Sunday covered up, boys. So you'll be out at Balamble on Sunday. That's a given. Crossy, what's Sunday like for you this weekend?
Mate, it's funny you ask. I was just thinking that then. I'll have to clear the calendar with the wife and the kids, see what's happening. I'm actually thinking about going down to the Valley and watching the Jets play. I'm excited by Ollie Regan's, one of my favourite players in this competition. Yeah. But Old Boys Day down at the Valley, that will be a cracker, Mickey. So, mate, I will let you know.
Mention my name at the gate, Crossy, and they'll look after you.
Right.
Yeah, probably.
Oh, well, I'll be back in the Tweed bubble come Friday anyway.
Cool.
Go out at Kingscliff, and we had some good eating in Kingscliff, boys.
Geez, how long you got?
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, you just send it in the group chat then.
Speaking of eating,
yeah, that's right. And then well, you know what? And that too. And on top of that, I'm going to get my rugby book out and then learn some of this stuff, because I'm out at Wallingbar on Saturday for Ballina versus Wallingbar. So seeing who's going to play the Trojan in the grand final.
There you go.
Cool. Have a good one.
Good luck,
call.
Yeah, well, I'm going to need it. All right, gents. Pleasure as always. We'll be back to normal time slot next Wednesday. So that was Duaneo Podcast, episode 15. Subscribe to the channel and subscribe to Instagram. If you want to jump on for a chat, just flick us a message. Just let us know what you think. Until then, we'll see you on Sunday, match of the round. Will be me and Michael Shaw on the call. We'll see you then. Have a good night.
See you.